Welcome to Simple Roots TV. I'm so glad you're here. My name's Alexa, and this is the place to get daily tips, tricks, and hacks to help you get healthy, live happy, and find more joy. Yes, I want to break health down into the realistic, everyday life matters that you can start using to live with health rather than live for it. So that's my goal. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about habit formation, and I just have a quick little chart that I think will help you understand how we can create new habits and break bad habits. In fact, this was my latest podcast, so if you want all the details, you need to make sure to go to my website, simplerootswellness.com, and check out that podcast because I think it can help you so much on this journey. Because habits are something that we want to develop in our life. Habits are those things that we do unconsciously that we don't even really have to think about. And so ideally, we would have a lot of really healthy, good habits because then we would just live a healthy life without it overwhelming us, right? But the problem is that habits are these unconscious things. A lot of times, we don't even think about the things that we do, like brushing our teeth or driving your car or learning how to drive a manual. All of those things are unconscious, learned behaviors, but we no longer consume us. And so I want to teach you how we can get rid of some bad habits and break new habits. Now, my philosophy with anything is why not squeeze out the bad by adding more good in? Like focus more on the good, and naturally over time, I bet you do less of the bad things or the quote unquote things you'd like to break. But today we're going to talk about how to form habits and really how to think about it because, again, I think we're going about it a little bit wrong or we're getting misinformation about it when really it's not supposed to be this difficult. So over here, you can get, again, all of this you can get all of this on the podcast. So tune in there to find out. But here's basically the wheel of habit formation. In our life, we work off of 3 different values or 3 different layers. And these 3 layers are your appearance, your performance, and your identity. Now, your appearance is the way the world perceives you, how they look at you, like your weight and your outward appearance and, being that quote unquote Pinterest-worthy mom or whatever it is, right? This is the way the world looks at you and others look at you. This is often the way that you see yourself or how you're taught to see yourself. Then if we go to the next layer, this is our performance, and this is the action that you take. And the last layer is our identity, and this is really what we're going to focus on today, but that's the person that you believe that you are. Now, here's the problem what we have with habit formation is so often we stay out here in this appearance level. Like we want to change the way that we look. We want to get to a certain number on the scale. We want our jeans to be a certain size. We want to look a certain way. We want our house to look a certain way. And so we get so stuck on the appearance that we forget that no change will ever occur from the outside in. It only can happen from the inside out. And the reason is, and this is the big reason that we've learned all summer long in the Mindset series, is that change only happens via an emotion. So the only way that we'll actually change is through an emotion. So if you want to change, you have to start attaching positive emotions to the quote unquote habits that you'd like to form or the behaviors you'd like to take. Those can't just be things that you think you should do or that your friends saw really good results with. Like those aren't positive emotions that stimulate a response in your body, right? Like they have to be from your core, which is your identity. So the only way to change and create new habits is to work from the inside out. So rather than setting goals or habits based on your appearance or even your performance, we really need to start with, okay, who am I and what do I identify with? What are those things that give me passion? What are those things that I really like? What are those desires that I have? So instead of thinking, oh, I would like to look a certain way, maybe at the end of the day, you really desire to get healthy, but it's not necessarily to look a certain way or be a certain size of jeans or whatever that is. Maybe you want to get healthy because you want to travel the world and you want to go hiking or you want to spend lots of time with your kids outside or, there's got to be other reasons that really have an emotion attached to them. So you have to look at the identity and you have to understand who is it that you believe you are. And once you start looking at the inside and starting to understand your beliefs and what you identify with, then you can start to see changes based on your performance, and you'll start the action will come from your identity, which is true change, And once you start taking action, then of course it's going to relate to or correlate to your appearance, how the world perceives you. But again, the only way to set habits is to look from the inside out. So I want you to stop for a second and think about the habits that you do in your life. Maybe you have a list of bad habits you'd like to break, or maybe there are some good things that you'd like to put into your life. Like say exercise. Maybe you haven't been a huge fan of exercise but you know you'd really like to incorporate it into your life and you just don't know how. Like you keep telling yourself, I'm gonna wake up and work out and I'm gonna do all this, but day after day it never happens, and then you're like, okay, I'll start on Monday, right? Like that's like traditional way of doing things. But the reason you can't get out of bed in the morning, the reason you can't exercise is because you don't have a positive emotion attached to exercise. Maybe you really do hate it. Maybe you had a bad experience. Maybe you don't even know why you should exercise. You just feel like you should because the world's telling you should. Like those aren't good reasons. So you have to look inside. If you really want to work out, or move, which I think we all should, right? Like it's a really healthy thing. And I think we can all get there to a place that we actually desire it and are excited to do it. But the only way to do that is to come up with your own reason why. Not your mom's reason why, not your sister's reason why, or your best friend, not all these strategies in the magazines at the grocery store checkout line, right? None of that. It has to come from you, your beliefs, your heart, what you want. And from that, you can create the emotion to actually get yourself out of bed in the morning and do it. And you'll find in the process, it's really not that difficult. So it's less about the appearance. It's less even about the performance. It's the fact of living your life from your identity, from your purpose. And from that, you can see huge changes. So that's my homework for you is this weekend, take some time to think about it. Like, what are those habits that you have? What do you want to instill? And what emotion can you stir up to really do that? Now, if you want help with all this, I do have a handout, a download on my website at simplerootswellness.com in the latest podcast on breaking bad habits and how to form new ones. Check that out and download the free checklist to help you understand what your purpose is, what you identify with, because once you get here, your whole world can change. So that's my quick tip of the day. Change your view, change your mind, and you will change your life. So check that out. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Simpler Roots TV. I'm so glad you're here. Next week, remember, I take the weekends off, but next week I will be back with a full week of brand new episodes of Simpler Roots TV. So stay tuned.